Hello, my most amazing artists, and welcome back to another day in the studio. Today we're going to be looking at these 3D self-portrait collages. We're going to try making one for ourselves today. Remember, a self-portrait is a picture an artist makes of themselves. You're going to need two papers starting out. A skin tone paper that matches the color of your skin, and a background paper on which you are going to write your name and your class code and then flip it over. You can see me doing that here. Okay, once you finish that, you are going to take your skin tone paper and we're going to start on the first step. You're going to need some scissors and some glue for this. So remember, thumb goes in the small hole on top, pointing away from ourselves. We're going to cut off about a hand's width amount of this paper, making sure it's horizontal, not vertical, up and down. We want it side to side. We're going to cut off about a hand's width amount so we have a rectangle and something close to a square left. We're going to fold the edges over, creating little tabs or feet so that we can stand up our face. So we want it to pop up like that. Okay, so now that we have those pieces, this piece is going to be cut. We don't want to lose track of it, so don't lose it. We want to make sure we keep that piece. And we're going to cut an even skinnier piece off for our nose. So now we have 3 pieces. We'll talk about those in a second. Up next, I'm going to do my eyes here. So I have a white sheet of paper, which is the biggest part of my eye. And I'm going to cut out that football or kind of lemon shape that makes up our eyeball. And I've done that with it folded in half so that I actually have 2 that are the same size and shape. So here I am getting out a pencil. And this could be helpful for you. If you have a hard time cutting things out without a line, draw a line on there. Draw the shape that you need before you start. So here, now I can cut this piece out and I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to turn my scissors. No, just kidding. I'm going to turn my paper, just like we always do. Cut that shape out all the way around. And again, you should have 2 if you folded it in half that are the same size. And then we want to cut out our pupils, which is the darkest part of our eye, that little black circle inside. And we can use a hole punch because this circle is really small. So I'm going to go punch, punch. And then if I open up, you'll see inside of there 2 of those small circles. Okay, now that I have all the pieces for my eyes, I'm going to go ahead and glue everything down. Starting with the biggest piece first, and then moving to the next biggest piece, and then saving the smallest piece for last. Remember to add it to the pieces you're gluing down, not to the big piece that you're gluing it on, and make sure you give them a little back rub or massage. Stick it down really, really well. Okay, here's what we got. Up next, we're going to talk about our nose. So that, remember that skinny piece we cut off from there earlier. I'm going to show you how we're going to glue it down. We add a little glue to the top of that rectangle. We're going to come about halfway down from our eyes to our chin. So move down, stick it on right there. It's going to be hanging down, kind of like Squidward nose. We're going to add glue right there. Oops, it popped off. We're going to add glue right there. Make sure it's really stuck down. And then bend it back up to touch that space between our eyes. And then we'll have a little pop-up nose. And I'll show that to you here. Good. Up next, we need our mouth. So for this, I might need a couple pieces of paper. I've got some pink paper and some red paper. Now, I don't need a whole sheet of paper here, so I'm probably going to cut it a little bit smaller, so I only use what I need, cutting from a corner or an edge. I'm going to stack those on top of each other so that I cut 2 of the same pieces at the same time. so that they're the same size and shape once again. Turn your paper, not your scissors. And so you'll see I have these two pieces that are the same. I'm going to take the little pink one and I'm going to cut out a tongue shape across the bottom. And because I stacked those, that piece is going to fit right up against the bottom half of my mouth. If I wanted, I could add teeth. If you wanted a different mouth, you could cut a different mouth. You could definitely cut out some lips or a big, huge smile or show your tongue sticking out, whatever fits your personality. And then we're just going to glue it down in the same order, biggest to smallest, like we did before. Ta-da! Okay, up next, we're going to glue down the piece for our neck. So you should have two pieces of skin tone colored paper left. You're going to take your skin tone, glue it down where your neck would go. Now along this edge, I'm going to add glue just to one side. Now here, you really got to make sure you push it down or it's going to want to fight against you, kind of like a spring, and pop off. So really rub and massage, make sure you have everything stuck down right where it needs to be. Then add glue to the other side. Make sure it's popping up from your paper a good bit, and use your hand from the inside to push that rectangle down up against your background paper. This can take a second. Be patient with yourself. It's a little tricky. I even make some mistakes here. That's okay. I'm just going to keep working at it until I get it to stick down. Okay, so here's what we have so far. And then we want to cut out the pieces for our ears. So I'm going to fold that in half. That skin tone paper. Look at the open side. That's the side we're going to cut on. So we're going to draw like a C shape, and you could just cut this if you feel confident, but I just drew a little C shape on there to follow. And then remember, it's on the open side, like a book opens up. So I'm going to cut on that open side, and when I open it, I should have two ears. And I'm going to glue those down right where they need to be. Okay, so here's what we have so far. We need to put on a shirt, so we have our shoulders. I'm going to figure out, I'm going to take a whole strip of paper that's going to fit the width of my paper. Cut that off, and then I'm going to fold it in half. Now right here, I'm going to try to draw the lines that you're going to see. Unfortunately, because this is a scrap paper, there are some extra lines on here, so just pay close attention to where I'm cutting. I'm going to try to make those lines really dark. Okay, so we're going to cut a curved shape there and down for the shoulders. And I can show you this example if you need to see it again. It's a little tricky. So on the folded side, we're cutting out the collar shape, and then we're going to cut out the shoulder shape. And when we open it, it should be symmetrical, so it's the same on both sides, and I can just glue that down. Okay, up next, we're going to do the hair. Now my hair is purple, so let's take a look here at what's coming up. I am going to cut off a piece that I'm going to use for my eyebrows, actually. I forgot my eyebrows were here. We need to do those first. So I've cut out 2 of the same pieces. So once again, I folded it in half, and we're going to glue those down. Making sure that they're showing the right kind of expression that you want to show. So if it's happy, make it look happy. Then we're going to try our hair. Now we're here. So I'm going to kind of measure, and notice I'm just creasing the paper right there where I think I'm going to cut it. Okay, and then I'm just going to go up just a little bit. It doesn't need to be super tall. Kind of rounding out the top of that, but making sure it's still going to fit, so it's nice and thick still. That looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a new tool. This is a paper crimper. We're going to slide this in, and if you need a buddy to help you, ask a friend for help. And then you're going to twist it, and when it pops out the other side, it's going to have this wonderful texture. This looks a lot like my wavy hair. So I'm going to trim to kind of make some spots for my bangs if you have bangs. If you don't have to do your hair the same way as me. We'll look at a couple examples. I'm just going to bend my hair up so it sticks up off of my face a little bit. And then I'm going to get that glued down right at the top of my head where my hair goes. This can be a little tricky. Support it from the inside. Put your hand inside of it and make sure you're holding it up so that you're not squishing your face. Shake it. Make sure it's not going to pop off there. I'm going to run some more through the paper crimper so that it matches. I'm just thinking about, okay, where do I want to cut this? So I'm going to cut along an edge. And my hair is kind of wavy, so I'm going to make sure that it is wavy by cutting some wavy lines or some curvy lines. Cutting out some triangles at the bottom to show where my hair separates. And then same thing along the edge of my head, I'm going to glue those down, making sure they're like up against my head and not just covering my ears. Make sure you really massage it. Make sure you really support it from the inside. Okay, and there we have it, a wonderful self-portrait that is 3D and is collaged. Good job!